Hey, fellow traveler. As we edge on up to that new moon in Cancer, as we're moving through this retrograde cycle, I thought it would be helpful to tap into the alchemical flow just so we can understand what elementals we should be embodying at this time and how we should be working with those elemental energies to root a strong foundation to open up this new cycle with, because with the new moon in Cancer, it very much is a seeding energy that's based on the culmination of experience up to this point, what you learned when you passed through the ring of fire solar eclipse in Aquarius that went down on the 17th of February. There is going to be a new moon in Leo coming in that is going to be a solar eclipse. And so when we're looking at the new moons, we got the Cancer new moon coming in, and that Cancer new moon will culminate its complete lunar cycle with that new moon in Leo. And that ties back to the Stargate that we passed through way back in February. And I even did pick a portal read for that. So I feel like that's being activated right now. And I'll make sure to attach that with a card so you can drop in on that. But just with the energies that have been coming forward this week, I've been noticing that there really is this almost blending of shadowy influence with the light that's starting to come in. I think it's because we're just really starting to emerge from the shadows, and we're sort of sloughing off that old energy that's been attached to us or really cloaking us. It's been coming through a lot, just cloaking energy, almost like it's preventing us from being seen accurately. It's preventing our energy from transmitting clearly as well. And so I think usually when you're at that transformation point, things kind of come to a head before they clear out. But I'll tell you, as one tapping into the energy, it's heavy. Like the energy is heavy, and it's strange to me because it's so out of sync with what I normally feel when I tap into the collective. So it could be that there's a lot of people that are experiencing this right now where they're doing that big clearing of energy so the renewal can come in. That's what's coming in with this Cancer new moon. It's bringing in this renewal. It really marks the time of moving out of the shadow and into the light. And we have to remember with the rebirth of the Venusian energy that it's expressing itself in Venus. And so with this energy that's going to be coming in with that new moon culminating, in Leo, this is going to really give the quality of emerging from the dark phase into the light phase. Both phases have their value, but if you get too acclimated to one in particular, then it can disrupt the balance internally and also in your life. So I just wanted to tap in with this and see how we need to align ourselves elementally and to really understand what elements are at the forefront right now. Seasonally, Ayurvedically, we have that liquid fire quality forward at this time. The tempering quality of finding the middle way, the way through that comes in Pitta season, the season of summer. It's fire forward, but it's also that bilious quality of water, which is about digesting old cycles, digesting times, spaces, places that have served their purpose. So there can be a renewal of energy that comes forward in passionate expression. There's a determination of one's direction and really following something through to fruition. So it can ripen on the vine. It can be the stuff of our harvest in the fall. So let's see what elemental expression is coming through, because that's really what wanted to come forward at this time. I want to bring this in just to see what we got here. Yeah, I mean, there is this mounting energy of the fire at this time. It's going to build to such an extent that it won't be able to be contained. It has to be outwardly expressed. And there is something here about moving forward and moving into the outer expression of what's been kind of bubbling beneath the surface. It's ready to come up and out. The more that you've held your fire back, the more that you've been holding in frustration and anger or any of these shadowy kind of qualities, and you haven't been bringing them up to the surface so they can be expressed and released in a very harmonious way, cathartic way, they can come out in more explosive expression. And that certainly can happen in your outer circumstances too. It just all depends on the way you work with the elemental quality. If you are somebody right now that is feeling sort of pressurized, or if you feel antsy, if you've been really frustrated and you feel burned out, it might be necessary to start fueling your fire, stoking your fire by actually tending to the health of your body, getting your body back in a better rhythm, something that is more in harmony with the natural flow. You might need to look at getting up a little bit earlier, getting your circadian rhythm dialed back in again. You might want to look at starting your day with a little movement for your body. You can start small. You can start small, and then before you know it, it's like the inner athlete is awakened. Athletic focus can be a wonderful way to channel frustration. It can be a wonderful way to channel the more heated emotions. It can be a wonderful way to stoke your internal fire of focus, determination, will activation, and also it builds a lot of confidence. So this is really coming through as a great foundational balancing point here. And naturally, if you've been really burned out, I think it's important to start slow. You know, don't do anything too dramatic, but maybe just opening up your day with a walk out in the daylight and get yourself kind of centered. And it doesn't even have to be a long walk. It can be just a 10-minute stroll, just to enter your day with a new kind of rhythm that puts dropping in with your body and really getting embodied, dialed in, because there can be a little bit of this quality. This came in on one of the earlier downloads this week of being a little out of body, being too out in the ether, needing to get something a little bit more rooted here. So this is coming in as a stabilizing force. Work with your fire in this way, and you'll find that where you were experiencing hurdles before, it won't take long for your energy, your vitality to come back on board, for your confidence to really be dialed in, your inner strength to be stoked, and for you to feel like you have what you need, you know, to kind of move forward here, move forward in a new way. All right. Let's see what we got coming in here. Elementally, what is the new elemental influence that's going to be coming in with the Cancer new moon? And we did have, a lot coming out here. Some coming out as a block and some coming out to clear those blocks. But it's sort of like, it's really interesting the way it's expressing itself, because it's going to be this process where you'll clear a block or an obstruction, and then it's going to give you a little bit of encouragement. It's going to show you what was on the other side of that. But as you dive into this new awareness of what's been kind of held back here, it does present other blocks that need to be cleared. It's sort of like a chain reaction of road clearing and then road blocks, and needing to get through all the roadblocks so there can just be this this even flow coming through. You are clearing away something that's been a block. Ooh, I like this, okay? I think that you've been in this space where you've been allowing yourself to just receive. You've been nurturing yourself. You've been relaxing more, resting more, restoring more. You felt like you've needed to do this because you're tired. Some of you are really exhausted. You're wrung out from everything you've been through. And you need something to pour into you. Maybe you've been creating more time, space to enjoy the simple things, to stop and smell the roses and just give yourself an opportunity to not feel so pressurized or have to be anywhere in particular at any space or time. You know, just allowing yourself, that meandering quality was something that had introduced itself. And so I think you've been giving yourself a little space to just meander through life a bit. And I think that's healthy, you know. I feel like the coffers got empty. They've needed to be filled. I think you've been doing a lot of cleansing too, a lot of releasing. Some of you have been actively spiritually cleansing as well. And that can come through in many different forms. It doesn't require that you do spiritual baths or any particular dogmatic practice, you know, to do that cleansing. Sometimes it's allowing yourself to have emotional release. Sometimes it's through actually working with the body. Moving the lymph will dislodge the emotions that are creating blockage so they can come up and out, and it gives you more breathing room. You can take up more space in your life. And that's what allows you to enter more of this flow, okay? Yeah. This has been very necessary, but I feel like that time is over, you know, because this got thrown away. It's like, okay, you've had this checkpoint. You've been able to restore a little bit, but there's another block that's here that needs to be attended to. And yeah, this block is something that needs to be rectified through bringing something that's currently in the shadow into the light. It's a test of the trickster. If you are able to pass this test though, by the time you reach the full moon in Aquarius on the 29th, you'll receive a very special medicine bundle. It's something that empowers you for the journey ahead. Something that empowers you to actually step into the light. You're rooting something here. There could be a significant teacher that is coming onto your path at this time. And the teacher can take many forms. So don't put it in a box, 1313 on the clock, because it might surprise you the form that the teacher takes. The teacher can be a relationship. The teacher can be your own reflection and challenging yourself to reach deeper from within than you ever have before, to transform something without. The teacher can be a particular dicey stretch of road that you're navigating, and how you're able to do that without falling into old perspectives. There's something about the focus coming through quite strongly at this time. And that absolutely makes sense with it being Pitta season, because Pitta is about the fire focus. Pitta is about really that single pointed focus. It evokes the quality of self-mastery within us. Pitta is the forge. It is the fire that forges us. It is the quality of transformation. And if we were to look at it archetypally through the lens of tarot, it would be temperance. It would be temperance. 1433 on the clock. Temperance, reflection on the card of temperance, can be an excellent grounding point at this time to help you find your equilibrium. 1444 on the clock. It can also help you align with helpful allies and synchronicities that are coming through in your reality that you may be missing because you've been otherwise distracted or too focused on contemplating your navel. Sometimes we have to take the risk to actually emerge from the cave, emerge from our time of turning within to see what's going on outside of that safe, sort of cloistered space, to recognize what is calling us to take a step in an unexplored direction. Maybe we've been really drawn more toward hibernation because there's almost an anticipation that the step into the unexplored direction can be tricky. And we may feel that we've had enough tricks, we want some kind of certainty, but this is an important point of initiation. And you asked for something you desired greatly, and you can't just have it handed to you, I'm hearing. It does require something more of you to meet it. And so it's necessary. It's necessary to emerge from the cave. And that's what this new moon in Cancer is going to bring on the scene. It's going to bring a teacher your way. You could trick yourself into denying yourself the experience of the teacher because you feel like you don't know how to manage this force, whether it's coming through a mentor or it's coming through a relationship or it's coming through a course of exploration. And that is the whole point. That's the whole point. It really is. There's something you have to catch here. It's a train of thought that runs you in a circular pattern that eventually it weaves a rut. It weaves a rut in your consciousness that continues to take the consciousness down into the depths that it's time to really get your course correct. You're not meant to be all navigating the shadow at all times. A lot of times, if you've been through a heavy processing period, you can become so acclimated to the shadow that it feels very exposing, intimidating to step into the light, especially with the way the light is going to come in here and the way it's going to emerge with this solar eclipse going down in Leo, just as we got that lights on Venus energy coming in. It can feel very exposing, kind of like when Venus emerged out of the sea, when Aphrodite was standing there, born of sea foam, all naked and exposed. It's this kind of energy, but it's that raw authenticity that is the wild nature that is coming through here. You have to find the way through. Both have value. And you can't just feed one wolf. You can't just feed the shadow wolf. You also have to feed the wolf that knows how to roam during the daylight too. To forage for what's needed for the path ahead. There's a way through. There's a way through that will come in with that full moon, but this is what's happening with this new moon in Cancer that's coming in. Now, once you get introduced to this teacher and you get over your fear, your apprehension, or the ways that you can trick yourself from having a very real, powerful, activating experience that aligns you with your true north, okay? Once you're able to get over this quality that you can't control it, you don't know every detail of this, and that you have things to learn, that you do not have a roadmap here, and that there is something you're being initiated into. And just that fact alone, it's worth going through the trial. There's always sacrifice that comes with initiation too. Anytime that you're going to step into a more expansive view, there's things that have to be released. And even though there are things that may hold us back, it doesn't make it any less challenging, okay? But I see if you get through this, what comes in, look at this. The Orin Moore is activated in you, the song of creation, and you enter the stream of ecstasis. There's free flow here. There's harmony here. There's the ability to speak things into existence, to use your voice, to call things into existence. It's like you gain this ability to command existence. It's true. And it's because you come into complete harmonic alignment with that creative force. And then all it needs is the avenue of expression for it to come through. But this is what will be teeming within you. Also, there will be recognition that a certain healing passage is complete. It's been complete. There's no more work to do there. Now there's an understanding of what's been birthed through the healing process. Because while there's a sacrifice, there's also a reward. There's a treasure that comes through that experience. So this is going to introduce the next block on the path. Lacking the foundation. Lacking the foundation to build upon. So this energy has been coming through too. Needing to root. Needing to root. So this is going to be the next step, the foundation. Paying attention to the foundation. There's a gift of earth that comes through here that you don't see yet. You have to wait for this alignment to come in. And then you're going to have to really start to put your energy forward in laying down a foundation. A foundation does not get laid down by itself. It's through our work, our focus, our devotion, the energy we pour into it. It's chop wood, carry water. There's something that you're going to need to be fit for. That's why that energy of the athlete came in initially. This is also really working with the root chakra, strengthening your stability, practically strengthening your stability too. But first, the stability has to be achieved energetically, okay? So let's see on the other side of this block. How can this block be transformed, the block that is preventing the laying of the foundation? Because this is going to be the next step. Okay, South Node matter. See, you have to reclaim your fire. You have to reclaim your fire. You need to be the torch bearer here. You've been using the torch to sort of like light up what's been hanging out below. And it's important to do that. You look on that devil card of the tarot, got the torch pointing downward. It's lighting up the tail of the imp, the one who's chained to the other that keeps them bound, keeps them in a certain pattern of karma, something that's oppressive. The devil's saying, all you see is all there is. So until you see what's hanging out there in the root cellar and you really bring light to that, you're not going to be able to transform it. You're going to have to be uncomfortable. You need to feel the heat of that. People don't transform when they're in a place of comfort. It's when you're uncomfortable that you find the courage to do what you need to do to transform. 23:44 on the clock. This is the key. This is the key that gets you free of some kind of oppressive force here. As you reclaiming your fire, that's what brings the close of one cycle and the dawn of another. The sun sets, the sun rises again. There's movement forward. In the 8th month, with the new moon in Leo, it's steady progress forward. It's continual movement forward. All the way through till we arrive at October. That'll be a harvest point, okay? So it's time to take what you've learned through lighting up what was hanging out in your root cellar and actually use that to be your guiding light forward, and to recognize what has been holding you back through your own subconscious motivations. And through understanding that, you can start to take new actions based on what you learned there. That's what's missing, is the action hasn't been taken yet because the focus has been on restoration. And yet the cycle, the old cycle, can't be digested until the fire merges with the water. The fire has to merge with the water. That's temperance. That point of alchemy needs to come in. The fire has to merge with the water. We're looking for that liquid fire of transformation. And that's going to be the turning point here. So this is really, again, talking about that quality of, we're at the phase of moving through the hall of mirrors, but it's not about shattering them. It's about polishing them to see the new reflection accurately. You can't see the new reflection accurately if you're still lighting up what's hanging out in the south node. It's time to bring it into form, okay? One more round here. Yeah, another in reverse. Queen of Sky. See? Queen of Sky, unity. Still hanging out in the ether. Still wandering off into the alfalfa. You see? Spear of Lu requires the fire, the air to merge, the truth, the insight, the clarity to merge with the will, the determination, the focus, the drive, the action. That is the inception point. But it requires drawing down the focus from kind of in this sort of ethereal space. Maybe because, needing to get out of body for a bit because it's been uncomfortable to be embodied. And yet this is what's needed at this time, to become really rooted in the foundation of the body, because it's time to take action and stop journeying with it, stop dreaming it into being, stop imagining it, and actually bring it into form. It's ready to be brought into form, but this recognition needs to come. And it can only come through the foundation of being embodied. So that's your challenge at this time, okay? That's your challenge at this time. You can start with the breath. The breath is a beautiful way to bring about that quality of synergy. It's a way to take that ether, that prana of source, merge it with the air of inspiration, to inspire, to breathe in life, the life-giving force, the prana, the life-activating force, and embody it. Embody it. This can be a good place to start. Start with just the breath. If you've been out of your body for a long time, start with just the breath. You see, laying the foundation doesn't require you do anything dramatic. What if you spent 5 minutes opening your day, sitting outside in the sun, and just breathing deeply, focusing on nothing but your breath. These elemental connecting points, though they seem like such a little thing, are everything right now. You take it a step further. You take your breath work on a walk. You put the breath into motion. That's the air merging with the fire. That's a way to embody it physically. It translates on every stratum of being. There's no separation between spirit, mind, body, emotions, material reality. It's all unity. But it's hard to really feel connected to that if you can't be connected to your body. That's how this is coming through. And let me do a cut the deck. Cap the saw. But you see, you work with this, you're going to get that wheel of fortune turning. You're going to have forward momentum here. And you see, it's not arduous. It's all downhill because the direction is so sure. It's sourced from within. And you know what this also reminds me of? It reminds me of a chakra. It reminds me of the sacral chakra, Svadhisthana, and how they're like these wheels, you know, of light. And look at all the other chakra colors are kind of merging, blending together here. But this is really about your creative center coming back into your creative center, coming back into your navel. I mean, that was your nourishing source at the very start of your life, coming back to the source. This is like getting reconnected with your source of life that's directly being connected to you, through you, though. You know, it's not like something outside of you. It's you reconnecting with it through you and feeling that constant sense of nourishment coming into your creative center where you used to feel a real draining force, a real draw or a block, a complete shutdown. So that's also about becoming really embodied in this space too, in your inner cauldron of creation. I feel this energy, wheel of fortune, moving forward, building momentum, comes in with chariot energy that arrives on the scene in that lunar cycle initiated with this Cancer new moon coming in on Tuesday. And it's the birth. It's the beginning. Isn't that wild? Isn't that wild how that symbolism of the umbilical cord came through? The navel, that connection. I mean, it is direct port with your hara line. This makes me think too of you're getting connected to the mother energy. The mother energy. And if we look at the mother quality through ancient perspective or even through indigenous perspective, mother is earth, father is sky, you know? Father is sky. And the two meet in the middle. And that's where everything flowers. And there's beauty in creation. The avenue opens. And there's a way for that creative force to move through us and weave its way through our life and transform our experience. And that's what's coming in here. The birth of the adventure, of the open road, of the past. Of the past that you went past in the past numerous times, only you couldn't see it because you weren't ready to see it then. But you are now. 33:33 on the clock. Expect to get news about this. There's something coming in here. It's the beginning of the growth of the Empress. It's the creative cycle that's coming through. There's assistance here. And there's something you're going to be developing here. Stages of development. There was hints of this earlier in the year. Hints of this in the opening of the year, January. You might be retrieving a nudge, an inner nudge, something maybe that you told yourself promised yourself back in January, or an experience, something you bookmarked back in January, something you couldn't fully see then. You started to get more of a sense of direction in February. March, it started to become more clear to you. It's like it's been a clarifying process. And it's about to really get kicked off in July with this new moon. You can't see what's up ahead in August, though. That's really the transformational point. That's when the call comes in. You've been waiting for this call to come in. Maybe you don't even realize you've been waiting for this call to come in. But when it comes in, you're going to know this is what you've been waiting for all along. Intriguing message. One breath at a time, okay? Take it easy. Don't force it. Don't force it. But do flow. Do enter the flow and emerge from the cave. It's time to step into the light. You're being prepared. You're being prepared. Godspeed.